What's going on, folks? Your guy Tommy again here, Tommy Talk, back with you once again, third time this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Uh, that might be a nice pattern. We might be going with that for at least for the moment. At least for the moment, it's like a new relationship. I'm not saying it's forever, but for now, it's feeling real good. It's feeling real good. So we're gonna roll with it. If it feels good, roll with it. Uh, Exciting weekend of sports coming up. NFL Conference Championship weekend. Detroit at San Francisco and Kansas City at Baltimore. We'll start with Detroit at San Francisco. Imagine for a second, imagine yourself, take yourself back just a few years ago and talk to a college football fan and ask him if you ever heard of the quarterback at Iowa State. And say, yeah, I heard about him. Like, hey, is he good? Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. And they say, yeah, he's done okay. 2019 went 7-6, 2020 9-3, 2021 7-6. He's done well. Yeah, okay, sure. What if I told you he's going to be starting the Super Bowl in a couple years? You just get the shit smacked out of you. What are you talking about? You an idiot? You a moron? He's going to be the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl? We're one game away from that being the case. One game away, Brock Purdy. And I understand the initial reaction as well. It's really just a vessel for all the other talent on San Francisco, that's going and starting at quarterback in the Super Bowl, potentially. And what I have to say to that is, someone still got to get the ball to him. Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do it on this offense. Trey Lance couldn't do it with this offense, even with all this talent. But Brock Purdy has been able to. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Tom Brady. I'm not saying that he's, come down from the heavens and he's now just the perfect quarterback, or that he, would be doing this well if it wasn't for the fact that he has, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey in his lineup, that he'd be doing the same stuff. But my goodness, one game away from a Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and he maybe could have gone to a Super Bowl last year if he didn't completely screw up his arm. They put him back in that game, and he literally could not throw the ball because his arm was so messed up. That's how crazy that game was against the Eagles. He's got a good shot at being a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be interesting the next 2 weeks talking about the Trent Dilfer factor potentially when it comes to him and other quarterbacks that people don't see as elite starting in Super Bowls, not including Joe Flacco because he was elite or he is elite. But crazy stuff, be a time traveler, go back, pretty crazy to think about. And then on the flip side, talking about Detroit. It's possible for Lions fans on Monday, your life could be completely changed. Every narrative surrounding the Detroit Lions could be dead as disco, at least for the foreseeable future at the moment. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something to see your franchise go to the Super Bowl, become another franchise that's at least been to a Super Bowl? You leave the dregs of the NFL that have never been to the big game. And for you, it's kind of more embarrassing because you've been around for so gosh dang long, and now you're finally going. But everything could change. This could be a changing moment for the city of Detroit. For the city of Detroit, it could be a moment to be remembered. That's all I gotta say. Now, I don't see it happening. I really don't. Detroit, their rush defense has been pretty good, but you're still having to face Christian McCaffrey. Their pass off defense has not been nowhere near as good, and obviously the weapons that they're throwing at you in the passing game is really going to beat you down. And as you try to go and take on that passing game, next thing you know, the rush game, slips right past you. So I think there's too much offensive talent and firepower on San Francisco for Detroit in this game. I'll give my full picks, TG's quick picks before the game on Sunday, because I like to wait until the day of to kind of make these picks. So that way, we get the freshest, best kind of information for you, the good people. Follow at Tommy SGAHAN to get those picks, or I may post them on Instagram. We'll see. But big game. Hey, Lions fans, you got a shot. You got your shot at changing everything, because you've been on the doorstep of the Super Bowl before, but you have never been to the big game. It could happen. It could happen. It probably won't, to be honest, but it could happen. And then Kansas City at Baltimore. This is the time, if we're talking about narratives when it comes to the Lions, this is the time for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson in particular to finally reverse the narratives. For Lamar to finally make it to a Super Bowl and to prove yourself as a playoff quarterback. Because up to this point, you've won one playoff game in your career, and you've never been to an AFC Championship game before this. You've been considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, and you're going to win your second straight, your second MVP, not second straight. And I don't know how much that matters if you don't finally find your way to a Super Bowl, because the haters have come out in force against Lamar over the years, calling him a running back, saying that he can't put the ball down the field and that he's not that good of a quarterback and that he can't perform at the at the playoff level. This is the time where you have to flip the script on him. You got to flip the script, and this is the perfect moment to do so. I think you have a better team than Kansas City, to be honest. So, and you're probably going to have Mark Andrews back. So this is the time to finally slay a little bit of the beast in the AFC and the Chiefs, and to make your way to the Super Bowl. Maybe even a rematch of the 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, with hopefully for him a similar outcome. That was back 12 years ago. A similar outcome of 12 years ago. Now, at the same time, we talked about last episode about the fact that the ref that they put in there, Sean Smith, he has been known for favoring the road team, so that could really, take the air out of their tires a little bit. Talking about the Chiefs a little bit for a second, I just want to put this out there and kind of just burst a bubble in a narrative a little bit. I keep seeing things on Twitter about how it's the entire NFL rooting for the Ravens, and then the Chiefs alone, like it's like back in the old days with the Patriots, back when the Patriots were great, and it was all the NFL rooting against the Patriots. What are you talking about? And here's why. You're going to pretend AFC North teams don't exist? That Browns fans and Bengals fans and Steelers fans aren't rooting with all their heart and soul for the Chiefs to win this game? Because I promise you they are. They definitely are. As some people, in this modern NFL rivalries and how much fans of one team hate another team in their division has kind of been washed away in sort of this NFL type, player-centric kind of stuff like we get here in the NFL, and the narratives people like to build, and kind of gets washed away in like the one big brand versus all the other brands of wanting to create a new Patriots and stuff like that. Just chill out for a second. Think for 5 seconds. Who is going to be rooting for the Chiefs on Sunday? It's going to be the people that hate the Ravens. And there are people that hate the Ravens the same way that people hate the Packers, and people hate almost any team in the NFL has their haters that you're going to root against them in almost every circumstance. It's just how it is. I just wanted to put that out there because I keep seeing those graphics and I'm like, stop it. Use your head for half a second. Use your head. For the game itself, I'll be honest, I like Kansas City. I like Kansas City. Yes, the ref thing is one thing, but I mean, they have just been on a heck of a run, despite the fact that they don't have the talent they've had in years past. Obviously, they're defending champs, and they beat a Buffalo team, which I think was the hottest team in the NFL. So, I got to imagine they're going to keep rolling, and people are going to be, and obviously the NFL would love a nice Taylor Swift Super Bowl, and that'd be a crazy narrative. It'd give me a lot to talk about, but it no matter what, Patrick Mahomes is on his way to possibly being the GOAT. And although Lamar Jackson is also elite, I don't think he's anywhere near, they're two different types of quarterbacks, to be fair, but I don't think he's anywhere near Mahomes, because Mahomes could be on a tier of his own at this point. Just saying. Especially, when it comes to being clutch and winning in these types of situations, Brady-esque in a lot of ways. Brady-esque. Kind of like, I'm just saying. Next up, also staying in the NFL, Raheem Morris has been hired as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Let's start off with this, because we can talk about the Belichick stuff in a second. Why is he getting another chance in the NFL? I get it. He's done some good stuff in LA, and the thought process as well. You know, the Rams have been so good in the McVay tree and stuff like that. He's the defensive coordinator, by the way. So, it doesn't really fit with the McVay because McVay's an offensive guy. It doesn't really fit with that stuff, which, why would you bring in a defensive coordinator? Not the point. The point is, overall as head coach, he went 21-38. 3 years with the Bucs, 1 year doing part of the year as the intern for the Falcons in the past. 21-38. I feel like that's enough of a sample size to say, hey, maybe this guy is not going to be the greatest coach in, the NFL. Maybe this is not the guy. Maybe we need someone, and no need a retread. We need someone who's going to be really good. Or if we're going to get a retread, maybe someone that, has succeeded at the NFL level as a head coach, like Bill Belichick. I don't understand why you would go get this retread who has not been very good as a head coach in the NFL instead of going to get the guy who's won 6 freaking Super Bowls. I don't really get that move, personally. Now, going back to Belichick, if no NFL teams are going to get him or pick him up, is the NFL just putting him out to pasture at this point? Are they? Because there are only 2 spots open now for head coaching jobs, and that would be the Seahawks and the Commanders. Now, for the Seahawks, they just, kind of kicked the oldest head coach in the NFL to the curb. I can't imagine they're going to go get the second oldest coach in the NFL and bring him in when that head coach is only slightly younger than their head coach. All right. They're obviously looking for something young and new, even though I don't think they should have kicked out, Carroll that quickly. But I definitely don't think it's going to be the Seahawks going for him. Maybe the Commanders. Hey, the Commanders might go for him. They haven't hired a head coach yet. They may say Belichick's our guy. But as time goes on, it makes you wonder whether or not any team is either, if the Commanders will actually go get him. There was once a dog, and his name was Old Yeller. And Old Yeller was the greatest pal any boy could ever have, the greatest dog that has ever been. And yet one day, it came to pass, they had to take him out to pasture. And it was a sad day. And when it happened, it happened. Bill Belichick could just be Old Yeller at this point. He was the best dang coach the NFL could have ever seen. Although, and later on, we're probably going to have to discuss the fact that Brady probably carried him most of the way to being the greatest coach in the history of the NFL and all that kind of stuff. But still an incredible NFL coaching career and has done some amazing stuff as a head coach. But a time comes when the game may have passed you by. In the last few years, it kind of looks like it has for Bill Belichick. And the league's trying to get younger. And maybe it's just done. It's over. If I were Belichick and I can't get in a head coaching job, honestly, I would retire as an NFL coach and then go coach on the D3 level. Be the little king of the castle action at the D3 level. Real love of the game type stuff. I could see him doing that. I could definitely see him doing that. And my contention has always been he's never going to stop coaching. I can't imagine him ever actually retiring from coaching altogether. I've always said that eventually the most likely way they find Bill Belichick dead is at his desk while he's watching film. And to be honest, I think that's probably what he would want. Because he is a football guy for life. So I don't know about Morris. If I'm Arthur Blank, I don't really get this move, bringing him in. But hey, I guess he's younger than Belichick. I guess you have second chances, and it's been a while. But man, I just don't get it. I don't get it personally. Finally, and this is one of those stories that is outrageous and crazy, but brings up some good points. So Kayshon Boutte, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He was arrested on underage improper gambling charges. Computer fraud, I know, was one of the things that it was described as. After it came out that he was betting while he was a wide receiver at LSU. And he turned himself in. So the stats this guy is putting up as a bettor is out freaking outrageous. So he registers with FanDuel. And between April 2022 and May 2023, he bets approximately 8,900 times. He deposits a total of $132,147.53 into his FanDuel account. He won $556,267.58 on that account. But then he ends up using that just to place more bets, and he only withdrew about $50,282.36 from that account. Lost a lot of money. He should not have done this at all. Obviously, he's going to probably go to jail, possibly. His career could be ruined. He was on the Patriots, and any chance at an NFL career looks like it might be, gone. But if he was going to do it, he needed to learn when to stop, because it looks like he won a lot of money, and that's another thing that's going to be investigated. How much was that? Because he apparently bet on himself and bet on LSU, which is like, how much money did he make off doing that? How much information did he have? That's kind of crazy to think about. But I mean, that's an insane amount of money for 1 year for a college student. Like, adjusting it for being a college student in 1 year, that is Charles Barkley-esque numbies he's doing on the online sportsbook. All right. And also, it seems like I couldn't imagine a person who tried less not to get caught. So he used the alias Kayla Fortenberry in Louisiana. And his FanDuel username, because that wasn't his username, that was the name he used. His username was Kayshon Boutte 01. Kayshon Boutte 01. Are you kidding? What in what world? And he ended up getting caught because he used the same credit card apparently to fund a FanDuel account in Massachusetts. But seriously, what are we doing here? How much? I mean, what's going on? That is outrageous. How are you expecting not to get caught at that point? How dumb can you get? This is college kids being dumb. And brings me back to a point I've also tried to make for a long time. With college kids being dumb, I really think, first of all, this is happening a lot more than people realize. I am betting, that a lot of his teammates may have been betting as well, or people he was playing against probably was betting. A lot of college athletes probably know a lot of people who bet on games. They just aren't this dumb and don't get caught doing it. Doesn't mean they should be doing it, but they probably are doing it. It's probably a lot more widespread than people even realize. That's one. And two, I think it's only a matter of time before there is some type of point shaving scandal comes out of this stuff, or some type of scandal of someone not playing well in order to make money, like juking the stats, to make a little bit of scratch. One scenario that I've ran throughout the years was possibly a lower level D1 basketball team where none of those guys are probably going to go to the league. So, why not just get, your big payday now? You're probably not getting the big NIL numbers. So why not get a big payday? And you don't think you're going to get caught because they never think they're going to get caught. Why not go for it then? And whenever I've said that, people have said, well, of course they won't do that. Why won't they do that? Because the risks outweigh the reward in the end of the day. And I say, that's right. You're 100% correct. But do you think college students really that goes through their head that often? Seriously. I mean, I was a college student. I know I understand the mind of college students, and I understand they do dumb things and don't think about the consequences. So it just seems like one of those things just to, watch out for, that eventually that's probably going to happen. Because if college students are dumb enough to put Kayshon Boutte 01 as their username and not expect to get caught, you can guarantee that some dumb group of kids are going to come together and say, hey, let's take a couple points off this game and make some money. Or some wide receiver is going to say, hey, maybe I drop this catch and stay under on my receiving yards, so that way I make a little bit of money, and then go through a third party and do stuff like that. I just can see that happening. And some people think that's crazy, but with legal gambling, you got to imagine you're going to see it happen more and more. It's happened when it was gambling was illegal. And now that it's even more proliferated everywhere, I could see it happening big time. In any case, folks, thank you all for watching and or listening. Look out for TG's Quick Picks on Sunday morning. Please subscribe. Tommy Gann on YouTube and then Tommy Talk on Apple Podcast. Go to @Tommy SGAHAN on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you all for watching and or listening. Subscribe. Love you all. Give me some suggestions. I'll keep my DMs open in all platforms to hear your suggestions. Comment below your suggestions. I want to hear suggestions of what you want to hear from the show and how you want me to format things and do this and that, because this is still the People's Podcast. It's no longer Ice Cold Sports, but it's still the People's Podcast. I just want to say that. All right. Love you guys. And this has been Tommy Talk. See you guys.